Welcome to another episode of Open Mic. We're back in the studio and having a really, really good time. Today we have Dustin on. He went to state and federal prison for selling drugs and committing white-collar crimes such as making credit cards in other people's names. He believes that he went down the wrong road because he was a latchkey kid who did not have parental guidance or discipline that taught him how to be a responsible member of our society. He says being a lazy kid and not wanting to get a real job led him to a life of crime. While in prison, he realized that there are serious problems with mass incarceration and for-profit prisons that lead people to spending much more time in prison than necessary. In 9 years on the outside, he's gone from nothing but the shirt on his back to a six-figure income. He's a podcaster, FAA licensed drone pilot, and a decent human being. Sean shares his violent prison experience and other insights on a very popular podcast called Nowhere to Go But Up.
You never know who you're going to see.
Be one guy one-on-one my whole career.
What you're going to hear.
We got a lot of desperate people in the city.
Or what they've got to say.
When you can take people inside of a crime.
That's what you're going to hear on my podcast, Open Mic. Find it where you find your podcasts.
Let's welcome Dustin to the show.
Hey, Mike, how's it going, man? Thank you for having me on your show and allowing me to try to give your audience a little bit of my story.
Well, I appreciate it. Now, I'm not sure if my team says you're a decent human being or if you say you're a decent human being. Which one is it?
Well, I mean, I guess it's all about perspective, right?
How about I let you know at the end of the show?
Fair enough.
So listen, I mean, you're implying here that you hit rock bottom at some point. Tell me about rock bottom.
Well, I mean, once you get there, I mean, there's only one thing you can do. You can either stay there or you can try to get out of it. I spent a lot of time. Just doing bad behavior, just learned behavior from not having had a lot of discipline growing up. My dad was kind of in the picture, but it was, every other weekend. And, that's really not enough time for a male who is everybody's always told me I was a leader, but I would always lead people in the wrong direction. And so a child that's got a personality that is that strong definitely needs a male figure, somebody to guide them into how to use that kind of personality, charm, whatever you want to call it, how to use that for good instead of use it for bad. I was just left to my own devices. And, one of the things that I was really, really good at was figuring ways out of doing what I was supposed to do, like finding workarounds to get out of doing things that I was supposed to do, like going to school. I'd figured out a way how to get around that. I just made friends with the girl that collected the Scantrons, each period. And I would just give them things, I'd either pay them $5 or, whatever to mark me there. It was just stuff like that. And it just progressed until I got older, until it got into other things like drugs and selling drugs and, figuring out ways to not have to go to work.
So this all led, I know I'm fast forwarding, but you ended up in prison. How many years and months did you spend inside?
I did a total of probably about 5 altogether, if you were to link all of the time spread out through 18 years. And I'd also been in and out of like 15 different institutions, from jails to prisons, going from North Las Vegas, leaving state custody and heading into federal custody. I was in North Las Vegas, went to Florence, Arizona, where I saw that there's 9 CCA facilities, which are Correctional Corporations of America, which is a private prison industry. And there's 9 prisons in this town. So the whole town is nothing but people that work at the prison. And that's not the only town that's like that. I'm sure there's plenty spread out throughout the United States. From there, then I went to, just up till I ended up in Sheridan, Oregon. And what I had experienced was like, this was kind of crazy because a lot of people that I was in federal custody with, they were all there for conspiracy charges. I wasn't. I had done what I was charged with, and I was, there to do my time. But I did notice that there was like maybe 50% when I was there, and I think the numbers have gone up since, but like 50% of the population there were there because of a conspiracy charge, meaning that somebody just had some hearsay, or maybe they did get caught with something, but somebody else came in and testified against them, and it just ended up, they would sign for 51 ounces of methamphetamine, and by the time they got to court for sentencing, they had upped it to where they're like, pounds and kilos. And so it was just like, it was crazy. And I didn't pay much attention to it until I had gotten out and started hearing about it through other people as I was a podcaster. I'm talking to all kinds of different people, and stories start coming out, and I'm like, whoa, yeah, that's right. I remember that. And then it really piqued my interest, and I started diving deeper into it.
So I'm confused what you're saying. I mean, you're
saying,
saying,
you know what? I just confused myself too. I was like, did I just answer your question, or did I go?
I have no idea what you're talking about. So
damn methamphetamine.
Are you Breaking Bad there in that big beautiful trailer of yours?
Yeah, right. Hey, where's the doctor at?
So, well, I think you were trying to talk. I thought we were going on prison. How messed up our prison system is, and all these corporations making a living, and all the judges over sentencing people, and I've seen shows about that. Mm-hmm. But I'm before we get there, I'm fascinated about how a decent human being like yourself decided that crime was going to pay better than getting a real job. And I mean, I'm confused how that happened.
Okay, well, it just kind of did. I mean, what ended up happening is I had a job, but I would always know people that were in the wrong side of the law, right? I always gravitated to those types of people. And so I just, if I ever, I would go through these periods where I would do really good. I'd have a job, and then I'd make some money, and then I would convince myself that I deserve, to go out and have a good time. Look how good I'm doing. You deserve to go out and have a good time, buddy. And that would always, the good time would never stop. It just kept going. And then the job would go away, and then I'd have to figure out a way, to get some drugs and sell them. And, and a lot of that too is when I would start that route, I would just sell drugs naturally to pay for my own habit. And like, I was a horrible drug dealer. Don't think that I was making a lot of money out there, because I was not. Okay. I was getting by and getting high and supporting my habit, and basically just being a horrible human being in the process, because that's what I was before who I am now. There was a lot of bad behavior, a lot of manipulation, a lot of, just not so good behavior from me.
And besides drug dealing, one of your favorite crimes was identity theft. Is that true?
Yeah. So when I got so the first time I got raided when I was in Las Vegas, because I went from Sacramento to Las Vegas, and I had gotten my first daughter's mother pregnant. She was a dancer, and I was like, and I'd gotten into some trouble in Sacramento where I was living at the time before we moved there. And it was like the kind of trouble that the person that I had some funk with, if I ran into him again, it was going to be either one of us wasn't going to walk away from it, and it probably wasn't going to be, it was going to be me that didn't. And so I was like, well, let's get out of here. You're a dancer. They got plenty of clubs there. That's a great idea for me. Let's go. And that's what we did. We moved to Vegas, and, just part of what I did, I just manipulated people, and I used people for what I needed them for. And once I was done with them, I just threw them away. I had a daughter with her, and I lost my rights to her, or my parental rights, during that whole process. And just
so you're reminding me of a client or two that I've had over the last 30 years. So when I ask a question, you don't answer it. And when we do depositions, we're like, just answer the question, damn it.
All right.
So I'm just playing with you. You seem like a really nice guy, but I was asking you about identity theft, and I have
Oh
notes
yeah,
here
yeah,
that
that's right.
I have notes here that you got convicted and put away for some identity theft crimes, and I had some questions about it. Is that true or not true?
No, it is true. It is true. So
And
when
how do people protect themselves from identity theft?
okay, so it's very difficult. All right, because what we would do is we had so there's these things that are called dumps, right? And whenever a system gets hacked and data breaches happen, all those things, credit card numbers, all your information, they get collected and they get sold as information over the dark web and they call them dumps. And so basically what we do is, you hook up with somebody on the dark web through however you get there, and you pay for all this information, and and then we would make credit cards, buy blank cards that have the mag strip on the back, right? And we would basically just encode it with the information that we wanted on it, and we would we would put different logos or whatever for whatever kind of bank. So I mean, basically we were pressing and printing and doing all of our own cards through this.
Tell me about your podcast, Nowhere to Go But Up. So you got lots of nice reviews. A lot of people seem to like your podcast. What kind of things you talk about on it?
Bottoms, life struggles, how people get through it. My guests mostly how they get through it. And it is, so yeah, it's bottoms, life struggles, how my guests get through it. And in between that, it's like a lot of my interests, stuff that's that I like to do. I just interviewed Spike Cohen. You know who that is? No. The vice president candidate, the running mate for Joe Jorgensen for the Libertarian Party.
Okay.
So I'm people like that. Are
you a libertarian?
I don't know. I interviewed, my last one, 69, was about I interviewed the founder of the Real Progressives. So it's actually me finding my way, because this is going to be the first time in my life that I've ever voted. Oh. So
how old are you?
I'm trying to 46.
Good for you. It's a good year to vote.
Yeah, well, it just kind of is what it is. So I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. I don't believe in either of those. I think it's just it's two heads of the same snake. So I'm trying to figure out where I want to go if I'm not going to go there. And so by interviewing these people, asking questions that I have questions about, that's kind of the process I'm going through, and I'm allowing my audience to follow me through it.
That's amazing. I look forward to watching your show. So what do you do when you're not podcasting?
I am a mechanical insulator by trade. I'm a union tradesman, and I've been doing that. I've been in that union for about 14 years, and that's kind of the that's my real job that pays for all of this. I'm not currently working right now. I had an injury, and so I'm just kind of like dealing with that right now until probably the beginning of the year. This should be dealt with, and then I can go back to work and doing whatever it is that I'm trying to do. I'd like to pivot out of that and get more involved in reentry. I've got a nonprofit that I'm forming right now. I've got it's been incorporated. I'm just waiting for the nonprofit status to either get accepted or rejected. And once that happens, I'm going to be trying to figure out a program that I can put in place for reentry. That really, it's a holistic approach, and it goes from pre-trial all the way through to the halfway house. That we'd be following these individuals. Usually, I'm shooting for 1 to 5 years. That's an easy time frame to follow and not get lost. You know what I mean, in the system. Whether it's somebody that's got like 10 or 15 years, and I plan on working with them or having a group that works with them while they're in prison to change their behaviors before they get out, and then also get them prepared. Whether it's through, figuring out how to make a resume for them and a plan of exit when they come out into the halfway house itself. And it'll be for men only, because men have to teach men how to be men again.
So I'm curious, how many years now have you been on the straight and narrow, sober, not using drugs, being a productive member of our society? How long has this been going on?
Since 2010 is when December of 2010 is really when where I can remember consciously wanting to make a change. And then, from that point on, it was just how I was able to do that is I made a conscious decision that I wanted to change. And then I started making the steps to doing that. And a lot of it had to do with, I had never gotten those skills of how to build my own self-esteem through accomplishing goals, setting goals for myself and accomplishing them. And the end result of that is, oh, wow, well, maybe now I can do this. Once you achieve one goal, for me, it's been that now I want to do something even, okay, I can do this. Well, let me do this now. And then let me do this. And let me do this. And it just keeps going higher and higher and higher and higher. And as children, we do that normally through school and activities and sports and all of this other stuff, which I didn't do. I didn't have. And so I really had to figure out how to redo that for myself as an adult.
That's the beauty of setting goals.
Yeah.
You just want to keep achieving them. I'm a big goal setter, so I encourage people to set goals as well. But what was it in December 2010 that made you say, I'm done with crimes, I'm done with prison, I'm done with going to jail? What was it?
It was a culmination of things. I mean, it had been, it was like, I'm 30 something. I have no retirement. I have nothing I got really nothing. What are you going to do? How are you going to support yourself? I mean, this can't keep going on. You're still doing drugs. I was chasing my ex-wife down the highway, and she had pulled over on the side of the road, and I was trying to manipulate my way back into her life, and she wasn't having it. And you know what I mean? It was just, I was on the side of the road, and literally I had tears were coming down my eyes. It was a busy highway. She's just saying, you're a piece of shit. I'm done with you. And it was just such a surreal moment. I was just thinking to myself, and I think back, how did you get here? You know what I mean? Where are you? And how did you get here? And who are you? And who are you? You know what I mean? What? And so it just really forced me to have to take a look at what I was doing. And this was probably about a month and a half before I was going back to do a 90-day violation. So it was at that point where I'm like, all right, well, if this is what I'm going to do, I need to quit smoking. So I'm not kicking while I'm in jail. I need to quit doing the drugs, so I'm not kicking while I'm in jail and a vulnerable target. I'm not going back to prison. I'm going to county jail, which is a lot more dangerous than prison, because prison, believe it or not, there are politics there, and you just can't go and beat anybody up. In county jails and city jails, it doesn't matter. There's no politics there at all. There is, but it's not the same. You can go and fire on somebody if you wanted to, and nothing's going to happen to you. So knowing all of this, I stopped doing that. And then when I got there, I was able to have a clear head and be able to formulate a goal within the 90 days that I was there to get out and figure it out. And the funny thing is that, what kicked it off is I started playing adult slow pitch softball. And so that took me away from the group that I was hanging out with before, put me into a new group. And then I just started obsessing about, I want to softball. Okay, now I'm obsessed with this. So I started getting really good at it and this and that. I didn't like the league I was playing in, so I started my own league. And that was where it kicked it all off. Because once I realized I could do that, then I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna become a tournament director now and start running my own tournaments. Then I started sponsoring teams and taking them to Vegas to play in bigger tournaments. And it was just, it just allowed me to see that, hey man, maybe you're not stupid like everybody said. Maybe you can do some stuff. Maybe you are smart. And that self-talk that you need to have, that's positive, to drown out the negative that you're used to telling yourself.
That's a good message. That's a good story. I mean, And guess what? Nowhere to go but up, right?
Yeah, right.
Nowhere to go but up now. Well, listen, Sean Dustin, I'm looking forward to watching or listening to your podcast. I assume it's an audio podcast?
Well, it's audio and it's also on YouTube. I have a
Oh.
YouTube channel. I do a live stream. So, I mean, it goes, what happens to it is I do it as a podcast first. I release it on, iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, all the major podcast platforms. And then a couple of weeks later, I'll do a live stream replay, which will put it out to YouTube. It'll put it out to my Facebook group. It'll put it out to my Facebook page. So, I mean, I literally have, it's all over there.
That's great. I look forward to watching. I'm going to get you the copy of this episode. Share it as you like.
Okay.
And it was really nice meeting you.
You too. Can I plug one thing first?
Of course.
Okay, so I'm one of the founders of Indie Pods United, and we are doing a virtual podcast convention. It's a summit, and you can find it at indiepods or indiepodsunited.com, and you can sign up there to join if you're a podcaster. If you have a show, there's going to be over 100 different things to do there. It's going to be 5 days long and 12 hours a day. So, I mean, it's going to be nonstop. There'll be games, comedians, entertainment, breakout sessions, keynote speakers, the whole gamut.
This is all live, obviously, not
all
virtual.
live.
When is it?
It's going to be, I believe it's going to be November 29th through December 3rd.
In what city?
It's going to be virtual.
Oh, it is virtual.
Virtual. That's what we're doing. We're doing something different that hasn't been done yet. With the comedians and the entertainment and the game shows that we're going to implement. There may be a version of Zoom blind date that we do.
Okay, that sounds interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to definitely check that out.
Yeah, indiepodsunited.com. And if you want to find me and my show or anywhere that I'm at, it is linktr.ee/nowhere to go but up.
You got it, Sean. Nice to meet you, man. Good luck.
Yeah,
stay cool and stay sober and don't do drugs.
Yeah, right. All right, brother. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Okay, there you had it, Sean. I'm going to do that again. Sean Dustin from Nowhere to Go But Up. That was, now I'll say, Nowhere to Go But Up now. He wasn't answering my questions. I had to wrangle him a little bit, but he seems like a really nice guy. And check out his properties, check out his YouTube, check out his Facebook. And if you like this show and you know anybody who's a podcaster or who's just had a hard time, this guy made his way back from a pretty tough life, it sounds. So please subscribe, like, comment, share, and thanks for supporting our show, Open Mic. See you next time.